Oh, oh, wrong screen, wrong screen. Uh, sorry, didn't mean to have the axe out right away. Whoopsies, whoopsies, whoopsies. No, don't worry about the axe. Don't worry about the axe. It was just, I was just admiring it. It's fine, it's fine. But hi everyone. Hi. Hello, Hero Agent Nico Asnia, Otakon Fox, Jordan, Shuno! And thank you for the inspiration on the going live tweet, Shuno. If you guys check that out there in the chat. I was inspired by Shuno's comment of today's question to be answered. Why does the war have hammers that seem like an ineffective weapon? That's why Oneesan must ask all the questions about the war hammers. Yes. But yeah, we're gonna watch and dive into some more Warhammer lore because I'm gonna be on a Japan trip for quite some time, and I don't know what Warhammers are available there. Who knows? Maybe we'll check out a Warhammer store in Japan or something like that. That might be cool. But you know, I figure a just yap and a just Warhammer lore is a good way to end off our week. And then next week, at some point, not going to give you dates because I like to be veiled in mystery and secret. At some point next week, I will be in Japan, and we will also still have our VCAT streams and tours with some lovely VTuber friends in 3D. So look forward to that as well. And make sure you're following all my socials because, well, bam, I will be streaming on Analive as well. So I should be doing like daily or every second day mobile streams on my phone so that we can still yap and I can tell you how I'm doing and everything. And just as a note, patrons will be getting photos ahead of time before I release the YouTube content for my vlogs, etc. So if you join the Patreon for the VIP tier, you guys will be getting that behind the scenes access. Oops, wrong thing. Patron. No, I can spell. Patron? Oh, no. It's Patreon. There we go. I can spell. There we go. But without further ado, let's go and dive into some lore. And we're going to be learning about the sororitas, Sisters of Battle. We're gonna be learning a bit more about the Sisters of Battle because I feel like I still need more info on them. And then we're gonna learn about the Blood Angels, because that's also another interesting point I am interested in learning about. We learn here, or as I've misspelled in the past during one of my lore streams, we Loran here. Loran. Better than learning, obviously, because it's with Oneesan. Yeah. Loraning is the best. There are many things to Loran. But yeah, we will head over to this screen. Boop. Well, bam. So we are gonna finish that extremely long Louiston video about the Sisters of Battle. We got most of the way through it last time, and I think we maybe got like, you know, a little bit left of it. So we're gonna finish this off, and then I have one other Sisters of Battle video for us to watch. Okay? How long is it? Is very long like a log.
The Sisters of the Orders Militant ardently follow the combat doctrines established by the Daughters of the Emperor, their ancient predecessors. Their battle philosophy relies primarily upon pressing the attack relentlessly until the enemy is within earshot of their dying screams of repentance, their hymnals, their bolters and fire. They wear war gear of exquisite craftsmanship, offering a seamless fusion of offense and defense without compromising their agility on the field of battle. Remembering, of course, that the sisters do not wear the same power armor as Astartes. Across the Imperium, many pieces of hardware are scaled to be appropriately used by humans of different stature. An Inquisitor or a Commissar could hardly pick up an Astartes bolt pistol, but they have their own design for a regular human. Similarly, the Sisters' armor is designed specifically for themselves without compromising its functionality. And without getting too into it all, Astartes' armor does tend to be heavier, more bulky, but that's why they have the black carapace and the interface.
Yeah, the girls don't get the black carapace. We'd be too powerful with it.
To enable them to move in their armor as they would ordinarily. Other forms of power armor or just armor worn by different members of the Imperium can be fashioned differently. Maybe it's a bit more lightweight to enable them to still move around in it. It's still a powered suit, it just doesn't
you need
have
extra
quite the
organs for that,
interfaces
true.
within it as you would have with an Astartes. And all of this refined armor was created when Sebastian Thor initiated the further development of the sororitas, and along with this they also created now renowned war machines, Immolator tanks with their flames, Exorcist with their missile launchers, and the sisters still wage war with these today. They also use more readily seen transports such as rhinos. And the sororitas through the days since their inception have many named leaders who are legendary among the Imperium, alongside which they bring to battle specialist fighting divisions. The Celestines, for example, are revered warriors of the Adeptus Sororitas, known for their unwavering resolve and refusal to yield to any. They're usually seen accompanying high-ranking leaders into battle, acting as their bodyguards and champions, raining relentless bolt of fire and sacred flame upon
See, like this. I like the helmets. We need more helmets.
the faithless, and it goes without saying, willing to sacrifice themselves to protect their canoness or other senior leaders of the Imperium.
You know, that's one thing. Do a lot of sororitas always like not wear helmets, or do we like? I say we because I want to be one. I say like they're always just like no helmet. Like, do I? I'm pretty sure you can tell that they're female without having to have the helmet on. I know that as someone who plays like female in games where there's armor, I usually either have a mod that makes it no helmet, or I have like the selection of don't wear helmet. But like for like the pretty ones, but like there's a decent amount of times where I'm just like most armor, like heavily armored. So like the Warhammer games or like Destiny, I like have like helmet always on as a trait. But they don't use helmets? Is this just like, is there a reason? Is there like a lore reason for that? Or people just be like, oh, girl's pretty, need see pretty girl face. They believe the Emperor protects. But is that why we're exposing vital parts? Or is it because of the psyker slash not psyker faith go burr, I need to have my head exposed so that my faith can get out of my head easier without a helmet or something? I just think cool helmets for Sisters of Battle would be cool.
Induction into their ranks only occurs within the sisterhood, as it is reserved for exceptional warriors who were most likely sisters' superior once, possessing a tactical acumen and leadership qualities that are unrivaled. And this is entirely intentional.
They do have them, they just don't use them. Gotcha.
For were a canoness to fall
Why don't we just shave our heads while we're at it? We can just shave our heads, because then like more of our thoughts of the Emperor can just go directly to the heavens.
In battle, then these veteran warriors bear the honour and burden of command being bestowed upon them by the Emperor himself. But in saying all that, let it not in any way diminish the standard sisters of the sororitas, for the Battle Sisters are the stalwart defenders of the faith, having vanquished countless enemy horrors.
I mean, she does look pretty freaking cool, just saying, without the helmet. But look at a little bit of like a halo on this art here. Very angelic. Very blessed by the Emperor.
In doing so to spread the light of the Emperor. Any sister may find the Emperor's guiding hand by her side in battle, and
they're not celibate? Are you saying that they need to have are you saying that they need to have their helmets off so that they can
find herself capable of manifesting
You
miracles.
know, that's probably why
on the
they get along
battlefield.
so
Their
well with
prayers
the,
grow more fervent
No, I'm
with
kidding,
each
I'm kidding, I'm
display of
kidding.
divine intervention, fueling their resolve to eliminate those who oppose the Emperor and Imperium. Just as the daughters of the Emperor before them, the Battle Sisters possess physical prowess and martial expertise.
This is where I be like, where's my Custodes X Sister of Battle fic? I need that.
Honed through rigorous training and combat tactics, unrelenting faith and discipline. Clad in their blessed power armor, armed with sanctified bolt guns, they strike fear into their foes. No matter the enemy, they will obliterate their targets, turning any who stand against them into gruesome, macabre displays of carnage.
This one bald. Is that common? This one bald. This one bald. Just saying.
And for all those
Or is
who
that just very old Sister of Battle?
demonstrate the highest
Also,
levels
some wear masks. Is that just tactical?
of piety and faith, there are those
It's kind of like I ask these things for like specific like difference, because I know, like, for example, I really like stormtroopers and I like sand troopers, and like I like knowing that specific shoulder pads mean specific ranks. You know, like with the Sandies, how, like, you know, like some have the orange shoulder pad and some don't. Like I don't remember this info off the top of my head, but I remember looking it up at one point. Look, I may enjoy info. I don't always retain it all. Sometimes I need refreshers, but they don't have any code for hair. It's just whatever. Okay.
who also can fall by the wayside. And when they do,
I like hearing cool facts that I may or may not remember. It's more fun if I remember them, but I still want to hear them regardless.
dependent on their crimes, they may find themselves facing the worst enemies of humanity with a chainsaw
pretty.
and little else. For the sisters who truly commit irredeemable sins, their fate is far worse. We're talking about the Repentia and the Anchorites. Repentia wear little more than rags as they're sent to charge across the battlefields to the sound of howled prayers and roaring chained weapons. A Repentia knows that she now only exists to slaughter the enemies of the faith or to give her life in trying to do so. Carrying a massive eviscerator chain blade, she unleashes her brutal fury. Chunks of flesh shredded.
Oh, so like this one's shaved bald. That's probably part of the penance.
Bone fly as with every slash.
So maybe that bald one that we saw in the other art had gone through this penance and survived and proved herself worthy of the Emperor again, and was now armored. Maybe that's her story. You never know.
And swing, she drowns steadily in the blood of her enemies. Each victim behind her a pile of shredded remains. But all she feels with every enemy she puts down is the Emperor's forgiving gaze. Unsurprisingly, a considerable number of the Repentia fall in battle. Their reasons for finding themselves in this role are usually pretty severe though. It could be something like disobeying the command of her superior, to give in to a cardinal sin of curiosity, and many more. But usually it's related to some kind of desertion of holy duty. Once handed over to the Order's militant, these sisters will undergo a merciless spiritual and physical reconditioning, and honestly, the less said about that, the better. Repentia are typically a first strike assault tool, giving them an opportunity to wreak penitent slaughter on the enemy, but also likely they will die very quickly. Still, it is possible for Repentia
cannon fodder, yeah? Cannon fodder.
to redeem themselves through deeds of great bravery and slaughter. Some of the most faithful champions of the Soritas were at one point Repentia, such as Celestine, the living saint.
Celestine was one point Repentia. That's very cool. That's a very it's 40k. Everyone is cannon fodder. Fair. It just means like they really went through it, and if you go through it and you survive, you could become very powerful. It seems. I like. Okay, you can't see it because I'm in the way. So let me move. I like this one. That's a nice mini. Like look with the face mask, with the eye mask. That looks cool. This is a nice set. I would paint this set. I want the Repentia on my board.
Any sister who is able to survive being a Repentia can often be very highly revered among her peers, considered to have of course been touched by the Emperor. Yet this has also led to a very disturbing practice by which some sisters will even go so far as to deliberately cause infractions so as to then submit themselves to becoming Repentia.
Oh shit! They're like, I really want to be Repentia. I'm gonna go do a bad so I get punished. So I can feel the Emperor's touch.
But speaking then of Celestine, within the ecclesiarchy and unsurprisingly within the
I wanna go down the path that Big Sis Celestine went through and suffer in the ways that she suffered, so I too can find his most pure and holiest touch and faith in the Emperor through the most hard, gruesome, difficult means necessary. That sounds like that's what the vibe is, right? No pain, no gain.
the sisterhood, there are many figures whose divine actions or powers rise above that of the norm, and very often these figures may be deemed worthy of the title saint. Saints in the imperial cult are individuals who have sacrificed their lives for the emperor and are revered as religious icons, or their actions have been seen to be specifically miraculous that no other account can be than the emperor working through them. They provide inspiration and represent various causes within the Ministorum, and this can range from local figures being worshipped to others who are honoured throughout the entire Imperium. Their names will adorn planets, voidcraft, streets, even in the naming of children. Saints must be formally recognised though of course by the ecclesiarchy and considered exceptionally holy individuals, with their actual words and deeds being attributed to the God Emperor himself. They can be warriors, leaders, liberators, teachers, writers who have served the Imperium and its faith. Others may be elevated to sainthood after their death, or of course as martyrs. So while saints can be anyone really in the Imperium and living, there's a difference between this and when we speak about living saints, as these are usually those members of the Adeptus Sororitas who are said to be so holy in mind, body and spirit that somehow they manifest something of the sacred power of the Emperor himself literally on the battlefield. And living saints will glow with power. Even the least faithful will have no choice but to collapse to their knees in her presence. Very often they're seen with angelic wings, halos and so forth. A living saint will usually, though not always, manifest from among the ranks of the Adeptus Sororitas, but it can occur among others such as Saint Sabbat, although Sabbat also has some rumours about her involvement with the ecclesiarchy and the Sororitas. Curiously, not entirely dissimilarly to the heretical worshippers of chaos, living saints most often only appear when there's a significant amount of belief, of faith, in which we see countless millions of the faithful taking up arms in the name of the Emperor, and truly extraordinary feats are performed. Then their arrival is often as swift as their departure. But most often, living saints will have changed the course of history, all for the better. But these individuals are also of great interest to the Thorian faction of the Inquisition, who regard them as vessels of the Emperor's power in the model of Sebastian Thor himself. Unfortunately, this has also made them a target for the polar opposite, enemies who have sought to capture a living saint and dissect her in order to discover the source of her powers. And as noted, one of the most well-known saints, especially among the Sororitas, is Saint Celestine, who is long revered as a divine figure in the imperial cult. She was a sister of
From what I've heard of people telling me about Celestine in the comments and stuff on YouTube, like, she's one of those things where, like, she can be, like, kind of revived into battles sort of thing, or, like, if that makes sense, or, like, kind of summoned? Or maybe, like, one of the ladies just turns into her, essentially. Can revive into any of the sisters. Yeah, that's what I meant there. Which is quite as useful. It's similar. It seems kind of like similar to the, like, I am Alpharius kind of plot hole for combat.
Penitence, as we said, who rose after battle, becoming a beacon of strength and vengeance. The most saintly and also disturbing aspect of Celestine's being is her journey to reincarnation, whereby she has to climb this mountain of her own dead skeletal remains to achieve life once again.
Is this one official? Is this one official? That's so pretty.
Focus of veneration for the Adeptus Sororitas throughout the centuries, and Celestine has fought tirelessly, rising from defeat and bringing renewed vigour to vanquish the unrighteous. She fought against the forces of chaos upon Cadia in its final days, and was there to witness the revival of Rabute Guilliman. But to give another example, one of the earliest known saints was of course Euphrate Kira, not a Sororitas, but a perpetual and a remembrancer during the Great Crusade. She escaped death at the hands of the traitors, and finding herself upon Terra,
It's so expensive. How expensive? How expensive we talking?
Keeler became an avid proponent of the Lectitio Divinitatis. This was the forerunner to the imperial cult that held the Emperor of Mankind to be the god of mankind. Her faith in the Emperor would prove to be so absolute that it would provide psychic protection against the powers of demons summoned from the warp in this time, and Keeler would go on to become one of the earliest saints later formally recognised by the Imperial Creed. But then finally we return once again to the...
Is like the main price that happens is the aftermarket price being so bad, or is it the official price that's already bad to begin with? Because I know like certain sets, from what I hear, are like kind of limited release, or do they reprint a lot? Or is it very limited release? Just like 70-ish base price. Official price is already bad. Ugh. I mean, I think the main reason it gets so expensive is to build a whole army like needed for playing the game. That's where like the price tax on, and then on top of that, like the paint. If you are painting yourself, the paint. I know, like those little things of Citadel paint. They're expensive, yeah.
grounded world of the militant forces of the Sisters. For while the divine saints are the highest point of faith and worship, there are those who fall so far.
Oh, isn't this one of those ones where like if you're a sinner, you're like strapped in to this like machine, like permanently kind of thing? I think this is one of those things. $800 Titan. Jesus. Jesus. Expensive. Man.
They are only suitable for a life of suffering in their final days of service. The Anchorites.
Ah, you mean the Emperor? No, I would never take the Emperor's name in vain.
We all know the horror of the ecclesiarchy
See, it's fine. It's fine.
in using their so-called penitent engines to punish
Also, I'm saying it like this. Jeez. Like JEEZUS. I'm not saying any. I'm just G's. Like, oh gee.
the damned,
Totally.
machine construct to which the faithless or the traitor, the heretic, are strapped in, torment amplifiers spliced into their synapses, chemical injectors implanted into their spines, their minds stripped of all thought except pain and spiritual guilt, which drives forward the penitent engines, actuators and servos, thrashing at the enemy wildly in an attempt to slaughter them or bring themselves to an end as quickly as possible. For those among the Sisters who commit such a heresy or who fled from battle as a repentia, they can expect to be placed in similar constructs known as mortifiers. But for those repentia who not only fled but betrayed their sisters in battle, an even worse fate awaits.
A worse fate?
For they are further entombed behind a sarcophagus
Oh,
of
it's like
thick
an Iron Maiden.
adamantine casing, and this protects them from incoming fire and desperately swung blades, denying them the release of death. These pitiful souls are the Anchorites. The sisters behind these lifeless masks are forced to face their long-suffering torment in absolute isolation, enduring years or even decades of agony alone, screaming to themselves, unheard by all. Many will have lost all
Wake me up inside. Can't wake up. Wake me up inside.
sense of their rational mind before finally meeting
That's
their
terrible.
end.
Sorry. Wait.
Desperately
Frozen inside without your touch. It works so well. Let's make a music video. You know what? That song could be about the Sororitas and the Emperor, and you know, so yeah. What if I just take my little figurines and just make a little music video with them once I have a set? Gotta do it.
By the time of the Indomitus era in M41,
I'm purposely singing bad so that YouTube doesn't bonk me, by the way. Yeah, stop motion could be cool, right? Who would be the male singing in this case? because like I feel like if anything, maybe it might be the emperor sing during part of the lyrics, because you think about it, um I've been sleeping 1,000 years, it seems. Got to open my eyes to everything. Like, that could be like, some of those lines could be the Emperor, you know? Oh. I'm just, I'm thinking about this too much. I'm like, if we were going full emo, full emo. Hmm. What if we just like rewrite a bunch of like old emo songs and make like music videos about Warhammer with them, like parody songs, and just make it about Warhammer? See, like we just need like the lyrics don't even need to be adjusted that much. Just like a couple touches here and there, and like instead of like 1,000 years, like it's how long has the emperor been in his current state? How many years has it been? Like 10,000 years, 20,000 years. How long has it been? 12,000 years. Yeah. 12,000 years. 12,000 years without. I don't know.
One, within the ancient and the hallowed halls of the Imperium, whispers of
I need emo music about the Emperor and how like I need to actually you know what I need to do is I need to get that like Christian metal and rock, but like rewrite it to be about the Emperor.
speak to the history of the Emperor and his fabled warriors who held back the forces of darkness. Throughout the millennia, the challenges
we need we need religious music about the Emperor. That's what we need. We need religious, heavy, grungy music about our savior, the Emperor, while we slaughter the heretics. Like that needs to be blaring in our helmets while we're slaughtering heretics.
shifted, and humanity
Who's
has
we?
answered the call. The Sisters of the Adeptus Sororitas stand resolute.
Like our Emperor is an awesome Emperor here. Like I need to we'd have to do a little bit of rewriting with a few different ones. I need a nap. No, I slept decent. I do not need a nap. If anything, I've had a bit too. I've already had like my gamer. I'm mostly through my gamer stuff. So if anything, I've got too much energy. I don't think you want me to have more energy than this.
They are the shield and the spear of
She ate the
humanity's
special
faith.
sauce?
And to carry out
No
their
special sauce.
purging wars against the heretics, they
I'm
are
highly
structurally
caffeinated.
divided into illustrious orders.
I'm just passionate about the Emperor. Are you saying there's something wrong with being passionate about the Emperor? Sounds pretty heretical to me. You judging me? Huh? Huh? Well, I'll just let the comments section take care of you. YouTube, do what you must.
Each a bastion of unwavering devotion. Their existence intricately woven into the fabric
Your
of
holy
the great
glove proved you were more worthy of the Emperor's love. Holy glove? Is that a thing that exists? Man, Otakan is inciting the YouTubers. I don't know. I'm not sure if you want to do that. Some of them be writing entire books in my comments, like paragraphs with multiple threads of comments. I'm not sure if you want to incite that kind of. We can battle this out in the ring again. You know what? I'll fight you, vegan. I'll fight you, vegan. This time, I will use skill instead of just wabam. Vegan and I we boxed it out during one of the patron meets in VR chat, and I will admit, I did lose. However, she distracted me. I was distracted. I didn't lock in hard enough. She distracted me.
Convents.
Your righteous holy booba will block all the punches again.
Convents are the ultimate custodians of sacred traditions. They govern and guide the sisters in all of their righteous endeavours. A sister, once initiated into an order, treads an age-old path that is rarely strayed from. At the day of her armouring, she becomes bound to her order until her soul is finally embraced by the warm, eternal blanket of the Emperor's grace. In rare instances, a sister may move from one order to another. For other sisters, where grievous injuries strike them down and permanently impair their bodies, if they're unable to be repaired or augmented, then these valiant warriors may relinquish their combat roles, embracing instead the ministrations of service or the solemn duties of ceremony. Flexibility melds with duty for the sisters, and they will adapt, embodying the multifaceted essence of their calling.
So if you become crippled, you can go do book work instead, or worship if you can't battle no more. That's
are as equally important non-combat roles for the sisters as much as those who deploy to battle. Their fortress sanctuaries are the heart and haven for every order, and within these sacred bastions, the sisters of battle spend their lives devoted to worship and the forging of That's
actually like pretty decent in comparison to what happens to other factions when you become like unable to battle.
Yielding spirit.
That's pretty
sanctuary,
nice.
Which are dispersed across the territory which they oversee.
You know, I'm starting to like the benefits here. Like I feel like
this is not their only concern. For the Order's militant, the sisters embody the very epitome of martial perfection, committing themselves entirely to achieving purity of spirit through the mastery of combat. They follow the stringent, grueling training regimes blended with the doctrines established by the Daughters of the Emperor, their long-revered precursors. And whilst the Sororitas do not possess the sheer weight of numbers as that of the Militarum, they, like the Astartes, bring to the theatres of galactic war an elite martial prowess that is nearly unmatched among the defenders of humanity. In M41, many place the Sisters of Battle as equals among the legendary Space Marines, the Astartes. But such comparisons are of course debatable. For whilst the Sororitas wield some specific abilities not held by the Astartes through the powers of their faith, they also lack the transhuman adaptations of the Astartes. But nonetheless, many are the Astartes who would not be alive were it not for the stalwart dedication of the sisters in mastering their skills, and many who were formerly certain about their opinions regarding
through our faith in the Emperor we endure.
Divinity of the Emperor would spend time and shed blood alongside
Order
the
of the
orders
Bloody
of the Sororitas and discover that in fact they had suddenly doubts. Within the indomitable fabric of the Imperium, where countless worlds and their
gonna pause for a moment. Our next video is indeed about the different orders of the Sisters of Battle, so I hope that's one of the orders we get to learn about.
Diverse cultures collide, the sisters of each order stand united by a common faith and shared teachings. They relinquish the benefits of their origins in order to serve the Emperor with unwavering loyalty. Each sister, their veins coursing with righteous zeal, seeks to purge the galaxy of heretical tyrants and immolate the abominable Xenos monstrosities that dare to threaten the sanctity of humanity. Yet, the Daughters of the Emperor were more than a community of warriors and devoted themselves to a wide range of disciplines by which they could serve the God Emperor. Many of these disciplines survived the Age of Apostasy and have been further developed by the Adepta Sororitas through specialized categories of non-militant orders. One example are the well-known skills of the Order's Hospitaller. With exception to those who hail from the Astartes chapters, their augments proving far above the capabilities of a sister, or indeed many among the biologists, they provide expert medical support to all branches of the Imperial military. And these sisters demonstrate their faith through healing and bringing—
Yes! Medic! Healer class! Healer class! Healer class! Sorry, Yes. It's good. It's good. I may or may not be partial to support classes in multiplayer games.
In comfort and relief to those in the most harrowing of battle zones. They aid soldiers in the harshest conditions or planets beset by plagues sent from the horrors of the warp. They perform complex surgeries and provide compassionate care, often being revered as holy figures by those they treat. And Sisters Hospitaller accompany various military forces, including the
If you want to see a cute girl paint Warhammer figurines, highly recommend check out Professor Wisteria. If we get a shout out for Professor Wisteria in the chat, please, and thank you. it's very likely that in the future we may partake in some Warhammer first time paintings together as a collab in the future. So, yes. Very likely needs to be planned. I've got a lot of things on my plate at the moment, but it's definitely something I want to do. Oh, yeah.
Militarum and inquisitorial armies, they work alongside the Order's militant.
I might need you to shout out yourself. I don't think I have any other mods in chat right now, Wisteria. So / shout out yourself.
They also conduct research into new enemy or weaponized plagues, even psychic assaults, and use their findings to collaborate with other orders so as to better combat mutation and shield humanity. They also study the physiology of enemies and assist ecclesiarchy confessors in extracting confessions from heretics with expert medical care. Expert medical care being in fairly large quotation marks there, by the way. There are many types.
Yes. We can make sure the heretic stays alive long enough to question him long enough to get all the information we need. Just barely though. You know. To get the confession out, right?
Of orders that provide ancillary services within the Adepta Sororitas, as well as the ecclesiarchy and wider Imperium. While the Order's militant are the most visible and well known, within the Sororitas there are many individual orders tasked with highly specialised duties. For example, the Order Fenestris maintain the extremely complicated illuminated armour glass panes of the Imperium's most holy shrines and cathedrals. Other types of orders carry out sacred duties that give them a great deal of influence within the God Emperor's domain. But whatever their task, make no mistake, they are all Sisters of Battle. While a sister during a war of faith may find herself alongside hundreds of sisters who all stand united against the darkest enemies of humanity, their canoness leading them with unwavering determination, at times the Sisters of Battle must also venture forth as smaller units with a specific objective in mind. And this may occur on worlds where a small deployment of sisters were caught off guard by an enemy invasion. They now find themselves as the most senior military force upon a world, and very often their actual battle capabilities are eclipsed now by the hope and inspiration they give to the human militarum forces they assist in overseeing, again in some respects not dissimilarly from Astartes. Wherever and whatever they find themselves facing, each unit of sisters embodies the focused determination of the Adepta Sororitas. No matter their number nor the task at hand, they will be a swift and unyielding instrument of the Emperor's will, surging with righteous fury. In the grim darkness of the far future, the Sisters of Battle are the holy vessels of the human spirit, unrivaled in their piety of faith and fury, relentlessly marching towards their foes, unleashing showers or walls of cleansing fire that purge the Xenos and the heretic alike. On the battlefield they bring judgment. For humanity, they bring the peace and care of the Emperor, ministering to the wounded, the lost, the downtrodden. They embody the very spirit of the Emperor of Man, a guiding light in a galaxy consumed by darkness.
Praise
by
for the
their
Emperor.
hands, divine wrath is made manifest. They are the physical manifestations of the faith.
Draw them all pretty like this. I'm like cat's feelings. Oh. All fairies in chat. All fairies in chat. Oh no, all fairies in chat. Oh no. I actually also really like in some of the earlier artworks we saw here. I like the ones where they have like the actual like nun veils. Like super pretty, especially with the dark red armor I saw earlier. It was like I think it was this art piece here. Like especially like here. Like she just looks very powerful and holy and very cool. I you know? Mm-hmm. Anyways, that concludes that video by Louiston09. Once again, thank you to Louiston09 for the excellent video. Our next video is going to be by Major Kill. It's every single Sister of Battle order explained by an Australian. Keep in mind, the video is 3 years ago, so it might be slightly out of date. This was the, one of the this looks like a pretty good one, though. It's got a lot of views. So we're going to check out how it is. It's going to be, I think, our first Major Kill video. So we'll see how we like this YouTuber. But in the meantime, I'm going to take a little stretch break and then use the bathroom. Make sure you guys stretch, get something to eat, whatever you need to do, too. And I'll be back in about 5 minutes, okay? Mm-hmm. BRB. Boop. All right, what I'm missing here? What were you guys up to? What were you guys up to? Oh? Oh? No heretical talk or anything, right? Right? No? You guys loyal to the Emperor? Loyal to the Emperor? You had to take Oxboy down. Oh no. Well, he loves to be a hater, so. Anyways, we are starting the next video. Every single Sister of Battle order explained by an Australian. By, what's his name? Major Kill. So we're gonna watch our first Major Kill lore video. No heresy detected? He was foaming something about chaos? Oh no. Okay, let's get this started.
G'day, guys and gal.
Hello.
Nuns with guns, battle bitches, space dominatrixes, or the object of every neckbeard's desire.
We're gonna like this, right? This sounds great so far.
Whatever you call the Sisters of Battle, one thing remains consistent. When given power armor, big guns, and blind faith, women are just as good at killing things as anybody.
Yeah!
It's been cool to see GW give the Sisters of Battle some love lately, as they have quite the impressive array of models now. If only they did something similar to the Eldar, eh? But did you know that not every Sister of Battle is a platinum blonde? Indeed, only one of the orders actually dye their hair this way. It just seems like they all do, cause that order is more or less just the ultramarine version of the Adeptus Sororitas. Before we get started, do you remember
So that's like, yeah, ultramarines, yeah.
that video where I paid a bunch of Fiverr artists to make Saint Celestine hentai, but the art turned out to be super overpriced and kinda shitty, and then I was like, I could totally get better Saint Celestine hentai.
Man. Man, this is,
I made for cheaper on any other platform. Well, I did. Here is the censored and normal.
Oh, I don't know. This might be. You know what? This is fine. Actually, it's fine. It's fine. This is wait, hold up. Let's switch videos. No, I think we're good. I think we're good. It's censored. It's censored.
Version of the artwork done by Harris Straw. The uncensored version is on Patreon for only $1, as I obviously can't show it here. But yeah, hypothesis correct. Fiverr is shit. Yeah, any excuse to peddle hentai, eh? Today.
Oh, you want to watch the hentai video about about Fiverr Warhammer hentai? Maybe another time. Maybe another time. We must stay strong. We must stay ever We must stay strong, brother!
We'll go over each of the Sisters of Battle order. I will be spending most of the time on the militant orders, as they are the only ones people actually care about, but I will also mention the other non-militant ones because I love making my job as hard as I possibly can for myself. Let's get into it. The Order's militant are the Sisters of Battle who like to go pew pew, so the bad guys go doo doo. Firstly, we have the Order of our Martyred Lady, the most common sob, and the order which produced the wildly overpowered ball breaker, Saint Celestine. The reason for dyeing their hair white is because when Alicia Dominica met with the Emperor to discuss why Georges Vandire, that dick, was evil, the experience of getting psychically blasted in the face by the Emperor talking to her turned Alicia's hair white, hence they now dye their hair like that in her honour. This is significant, as Alicia killing Georges Vandire saved the Imperium and it freed the Sisters from his low-key creepy command. This order is incredibly ruthless in their purging of literally anything and anyone which isn't a devout follower of the Emperor.
I understand why the one was bald now. You know why? If you bleach your hair a ton all the time, that's gonna cause a lot of hair damage. She's just got hair damage. She went bald from bleaching her hair all the time. That's my theory now. New theory.
It's actually quite meme-worthy, as even the custodies are amused at how the Sisters treat them as literal angels. I can't say I blame their fanatical faith though. Their spiritual leader, Saint Celestine, is as angelic as it can get. The next order is the Order of the Bloody Rose.
Let's go! The highly anticipated Order of the Bloody Rose!
This order is as arrogant as they are edgy. Their creation was inspired by Saint Mina, who was one of the OG sisters who hung out with Alicia. It's said that when she was alive, she was able to kill multiple Space Marines in hand-to-hand combat. Now that's already pretty sketchy, but then when you read that she's said to have been able to fight a veteran Custodes to a standstill, the smell of bullshit really starts to reek. Either the fight never happened and the Bloody Rose just wanted to look cool, or the Custodes held back as the purpose of him visiting her was to get her to come talk to the Emperor, not just to immediately disembowel her.
I'm smelling some bullshit right now. Tell me the full story.
You see what I mean when I call them arrogant? Whilst all Sisters of Battle more or less fight the same enemies, the Bloody Rose have
God forbid a woman do anything.
recently found themselves entangled with some Tyranids, and they're doing a pretty good job of it, killing a High Fleet tendril and saving a lot of lives. Their combat style and even colour can be compared to the Blood Angels, or even the World Eaters, as they prefer to be up close and personal when curb stomping a Xeno or heretic soul. On rare occasion, a sister facing a mighty opponent will glow and crackle with red power, before crying blood with red eyes. In this form, which I'll just call Kaioken times 4, the sister is super overpowered, is
We're,
the
we'll
order
we'll
of the
still finish this video. It's not a very this, you know what, this video's only 11 minutes. I shouldn't be that upset. But he used the word explained in big bold letters. Like maybe like Australian explaining is not explaining or something. Australians are physically incapable of being serious, says Oxy. Okay.
superior sisters than most other orders. The
Hi,
negative to
Dad.
this is that recruitment success rate is lower,
Oh, this is the one with the helmet I saw before, I think, right? Like the same order.
hence their order is smaller than the other main ones, especially since the opening of the Great Rift racked a heavy toll on them. The Ebb and Chalice are known to wipe out entire Chaos Space Marine warbands, so hopefully that gives you some insight to the ass kickery these bolter bitches can deliver. In recent lore, whilst they haven't won a ton of battles, the battles they have been in have been incredibly important. They help clear out the local systems around Terra and now fight to defend the key hive world of Vigilus. The next order is quite spicy. The
Spicy.
Order of the Valorious Heart. Whilst the Bloody Rogues are driven by rage and the Ebb and Chalice
The Ebb and Chalice are the most elite of the sisters. Ooh.
are driven by pressure to make their dead mum proud, the Valorious Heart are driven by intense guilt. They feel really shitty about being tricked by Georges Van Dyer and nearly bringing about the end of the Imperium.
Oh,
Fair enough.
so they're like... Oh, okay.
However, they have taken this to a whole nother level. They're like the Deathcore of Krieg version of the nuns with guns. Their patron, the Saint Lucia, was an incredibly penitent lady who punished herself whenever she thought about something sinful. I don't know about you, but I commit about 5,000 sins in my thoughts every day, so either this bitch is more whipped than a racehorse, or she's incredibly disciplined and likely terrible in bed. Aside
What the? Why would you... Dude spouting things out of nowhere.
product of the Valorious Heart being super hard on themselves is that they have a disproportionately large amount of repentiers. Repentiers being sisters of battle who feel the need to atone for a great sin, such as downloading videos while using someone else's hotspot. Hence they strip
I'm
off their
surprised.
clothes and they charge into battle with big ass swords.
I might need to ask manager to censor this part for me.
The final main militant convent
Because that was a little spicy. That didn't need to be that didn't need to be there. We might need one of those like little like slapping an Ayudoro on that. Ooh.
is the Order of the Argent Shroud, who
No,
for
we're
simple
not rewinding. We're not rewinding.
purposes you can just think of as Raven Guard with tits. I say this as their armor coloring is similar, they don't talk much, and they have a bunch of jetpacks for flying. The only real difference is that the sisters
I'm gonna give him one more chance. I'm gonna give him one more chance. If there's one more thing that I'm like, what the? And then we're gonna switch videos. We're only 6 minutes in, and I've done a couple what does.
of battle have no concept of stealth, hence these ladies just often Leroy Jenkins in with no plan or escape. However, they do have some cheese up their sleeve. When times are shit, they can gain the power of faith to make their armor stronger and make the enemy really bad at aiming. They're all about self-sacrifice and last stands and all that kind of jazz. Unfortunately
Okay.
for the Argent Shroud, their patron saint, Saint Sylvana, died very unceremoniously, being poisoned by an assassin before she could
Ooh.
even lead her first crusade.
Oof.
Oh well. The Order of the Argent Shroud was almost seemingly wiped out by the opening of the Great Rift, with 80% of their members being caught in it. However, as the Indomitus Crusaders continued, it's become clear that the majority of them survived, and they've been waging war at the gates of hell this entire time. The Holy Hoes aren't just a group of zealous warriors.
Sorry, that was it. That's it for me. That's it for me. That was it for me. That's it. We're moving on to a different video.
Special thanks.
Hi, Fred. Oh, everybody say happy birthday to Fred. It's Fred's birthday. Happy birthday, Fred. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Da, 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 da. Merry Christmas. Happy birthday. Sorry, your birthday's in December. That means your parents had a very good St. Patrick's Day. Probably. Okay, we are switching over to Mr. Bones' Every Sister of Battle Order Explained video, which is a nice 28 minutes of video here. Sounds much nicer. Hopefully, Mr. Bones here will be very, very nice.
To Starforged for sponsoring this video. Hi. I'm Arthur, and it's time for me to finally talk a bit more about the Sisters of Battle.
Let's go.
I'm weirdly...
Okay, I'm already, you know, he's putting in the comfort music. He's introducing himself nicely. You know, I'm already like, the tension in my shoulders is dissipating. We're starting on a good foot here.
enough surprised that I haven't even brought them up once on my channel, except for like maybe a YouTube short or two. So I'm just gonna dangle a sororitas video.
Also, he puts explained, but then he not prefaces. Prefaces would be what's the opposite of preface? Like to put something at the end instead. I need to expand my video. Yeah, he puts the sort of there. So he's like he's not putting too much expectations on this video. You know, like it may say explained, but he puts sort of. So that means I'm like, okay, I'm not going to expect too much. A footnote. Yeah, he footnotes it with sort of, which, you know, doesn't put too much pressure on the video. Like, I know because it says sort of that it won't be super in depth. So I'm giving him more, you know, breathing room for what he's going to explain to me. And that makes sense.
Over you guys like you're some kind of homeless dog and it's a fine ribeye steak. I promise I'll draw more content on specific factions involving them in the future. I just kind of wanted to cover Sisters of Battle and, you know, see where it goes from there. I got a few other factions that I want to do these kinds of faction compilation videos for, because I do have a lot of fun researching them as well as making them. So yeah, we're just gonna cover the Sisters now, and then maybe next time we'll do Custodes or maybe something else. If you guys want to see a specific one, just let me know in the comments. So to get into it, let's talk about the basics, as I haven't covered this.
Oh, does it sound like you, Otakon? Well, if it does sound like you, then you have a very nice voice.
Sisters on this channel in the past. They are such a fun faction as they represent the weirder hypocrisies of the Imperium of Mankind in such a way that's just neato. So, the short version is they are the chamber militant to the Ordo Hereticus branch of the Inquisition, which basically means that they are the religious attack dogs of the inquisitorial staff in charge of maintaining a clean bill of religious health for the Imperium. How this happened was a long story, and I do want to make an entire video covering this section of time known as the Reign of Blood, but basically there was an almost 100 years stretch of time where a corrupt administratum member basically launched a coup and lied, cheated, and stole his way.
Yes, we've got memes. We've got memes. Nice. Those memes. But yes, I've been good, Undead King. I hope you've been well. I just wanted to pause to say hi, but then we got a meme on the screen.
And becoming more or less the emperor of the Imperium for a bit, destroying every single person that would be in his way of governing the entirety of the Imperium of Mankind. He was corrupt as hell, and a non-chaos corrupted individual as well. He tricked the Sisters of Battle, or as they were referred to then, the Daughters of the Emperor, into becoming his personal bodyguard by the name of the Wives of the Emperor.
This led
to a bloody civil
Oh, look, he corrected himself. Nice.
war, where on the side of
We love a guy who is willing to admit when he's wrong.
of Goje Van Dyer, there was the
Yes, more Dodge memes. I assure you, my fellow High Lords, the cute white hair is of the utmost tactical importance for the Sisters of Battle.
Wives of the Emperor, the Imperial Guard, or at least most of them, as
Although
well
that
as a
came later.
bunch of other fanatical religious Templary types, versus a legit, probably blessed by the Emperor priest who was backed by his own fanatical army as well as the Space Marines. The war basically ended when the Custodes, coming out of the throne room to speak with the wives of the Emperor, guided a set few of these individuals into the throne room to meet the Emperor. It's never fully explained what happened, but whatever happened in there led them to being so pissed off they came out, killed Gojay, and stopped the civil war immediately.
Are you sure, you Canonist? It's imperative to the will of the Emperor that you and your sisters are barefooted. Jesus.
This led to them being incorporated into the Inquisition because technically the cult of the Emperor and all other religious affiliates were no longer allowed to amass any level of military might. So this is a bit of a loophole since...
Dude, this is like the perfect balance between Louiston and Bricky for me right now. This is like this nice in-between where he's giving like info, but it's summarized and made funny, but it's like more info than what Bricky give me, but less info from that Louiston give me, and it's very chill and good laughs. Yeah, this is like, once again, Professor Wisteria, thank you for the video suggestion here.
The now renamed Sisters of Battle are technically warriors of the...
Also, when I'm giving opinions on YouTuber versus YouTuber, I'm not saying one is necessarily better than the other. They're all good in different ways for different people and different reasons. It's like everybody has their own taste in content and stuff like that. It doesn't mean like someone else's content is necessarily trash or bad. It just might not be up to your taste. And so some certain people will prefer what works best for their brain. Yeah. And this has been nice. Although I feel like he's lulling me into a maybe a slightly fake sense of security with the music. The music is very chill.
the church, but they serve the Inquisition, so I guess it kind of works out. The Sisters of Battle are a military group of individuals selectively chosen and possibly bred to be incredibly pious warrior women who might in fact be psychically inclined, but don't actually say that. They will kill you.
Yeah. Faith of the Emperor.
They're known to be completely filled by ranks of power armor-clad warriors who use bolt guns. They are essentially the female response to the existence of the male.
That's very fair, Odious. Like, I found, like, it's hard to do a full-length Louiston video for React. It's been difficult. There's been a lot of information to process all at once. But I'm sure if I was painting minis or doing something else, it would be great to just, like, sit back and fully just immerse and listen to. But I feel like I would still not retain all that information until I listen to it 2 to 3 times. Ayumi's brain is very specific. You have to give it information in the exact right way at the exact right time to get it to stick. I can't count how many times I've told her something and she said, "You should have told me that." And I've had to tell her this the 3rd time we've had the conversation. Look, I may be a little special sometimes, but like, that's why you guys like me, right? Right?
Occupied
I'm
space.
special, Oneesan. Yeah.
Space Marines, though their lore was radically different in order to provide a response to any inaccuracies that could come from gene seed interactions with female genetic code, as this ends with them just being completely human. But regardless, they are incredibly pious individuals with an obsession with bolt guns, fire-based weapons such as flamers, and melta weapons, which in general makes them a relatively strong fighting force, but due to the collective unconscious zeal feel, they actually all can cause psychic phenomena to appear due to their religious fervor. There is a bit more to it, as there is some interesting things that comes into it. Like, a lot of the living saints and the saint-like abilities that occurred are probably because of a collective belief in saints, and that they feel, especially during times of need, an intense desire. This can cause phenomena to manifest. Like, Celestine usually only appears when there is a lot of Sisters of Battle in need and there is a lot of prayers being sent up. So realistically, she's probably a psychically created construct similar to that of, like, I don't want to say a demon, but like a demon. The sisters are divided up into 6 major orders, and there are a bunch of smaller, less...
Okay, I think he sticks on the screen for a bit, but I just want to read in and take in the information myself first. So, okay. Man, it's like Blue Eyes White Dragon and Rose Dragon. Except there's roses on both sides. So it's like that one Yu-Gi-Oh game, like the white rose and the red rose. You know, like the roses game on the PlayStation 2. Kind of like that. I'm kidding. I just blue and red, you know. So Ebon Chalice and Sacred Rose and Argent Shroud are all on the same side, and Covenant Sanctorum and Covenant. I need to listen for the explanations here.
lesser known orders, but we will only be covering the major orders today. The first thing to note before getting into the orders is there is technically 2 convents: the Convent Prioris, which is the convent of sisters that is located on Terra, and the Convent Sanctorum. There isn't really any major...
Okay, so this is just on Terra. That's the only difference? Okay.
difference between the 2. It's just that both of them house 3 individual sets of the major orders.
Ophelia and Terra. Okay.
And they were basically placed on different locations. So the Convent Prioris is on Terra, and the Convent Sanctorum is on Ophelia 7, which was the birthplace of the Daughters of the Emperor.
Oh, okay. That's the birthplace. Okay.
We'll cover the Convent Sanctorum first, and then the Convent Prioris second. Not for any other reason other than I just had a reason to kind of order this out, and it made more sense to start this way. You'll understand the second we get into the list. So, starting off, we will get the main one out of the way. But before we get into it, I'd like to have a brief word from our sponsor.
Sorry. Sponsor not relevant.
The Order of the Martyred Lady. Originally going by the name the Order of the Fiery Heart, the Order of the Martyred Lady is the most well-known out of all the orders of the Sisters of Battle. You've seen them before.
Oh yeah, I'll just put my sponsor. No, but do check out, since we didn't look at his sponsor, do check out Mr. Bones 40K for more of his content. The video I watched will be linked in the description of the YouTube video here. And for my sponsor, I would like to say, if you'd like some yummy gamer energy, in both available in caffeinated or non-caffeinated, or some nice gamer tea, check out Gamersubs and use code ARA at checkout for 10% off your order. There should be links below for that as well. Please and thank you. It helps support me, gets you a nice discount, and gets me closer to getting my own very own Gamersubs cup with your Oneesan on it. Ara. Bam.
Basically, they are the SOB equivalent of the Ultramarines, where they are likely going to be seen on all the packages of all the miniatures, except for like
Ara.
maybe Morven Val. And it's likely due to them having an easily recognizable paint scheme with black, red, and white, as well as just being in...
Some of the first Warhammer videos I did watch were Brickies. We might explore more Bricky videos later, too.
most of the fiction. They are not boring by any stretch, if it sounds like I'm painting them as such. They are just the poster child of the faction. Their story is one of sacrifice, as their original founding canoness superior, which is the leader of any order of sisters, was Saint Catherine. Yes, that one, who led the Order of the Fiery Heart on a massive war front in order to purify the galaxy. A war of faiths was declared, and she would prosecute this bloody war till the end. It ended with her death, of course, and at the hand of a heretic, no less, which it led to the sisters adopting an entirely black armor scheme as a way to mourn. But not in a way of channeling their grief into sadness, more as them channeling their grief into a retributive rage. Only when they felt their vengeance was prosecuted did they add the red and the white elements to their design, which I think really makes their paint scheme mean a lot more in the long run than just, oh hey, it's kind of funny that the Ultramarines are ultramarine blue and they're also the Ultramarines. This is when they also took on the name of the Martyred Lady as a way to be a bit more reverential to St. Catherine. The Order of the Martyred Lady is not only the most well-known in regards of the miniatures, but they are also the most numerous.
Wow, Oxy, are you saying that you're into mildly crippled women? Like, does cripple count if it's an eye, or does it have to be a limb for it to be a cripple? Oh, Oxy was saying he recently learned that he's into women with eye patches. Noted. I think we stopped using that word. I don't mean it in an offensive way. I'm just meaning it in the technical way. Is disabled the better word? I don't know which is the better word. Like, someone can be crippled. I'm not calling a person a cripple, but disability can mean a variety of outwardly physical or inwardly things too. Technically. So like a disability is like I feel like a more broad thing, while being crippled is like something more like physical, isn't it? Loss of vision means a loss of specific. Huh. Anyways. We went a little off track there. Back to Sisters of Battle. Whether they have eyes or not.
Of all the orders in the setting, being distributed all throughout the universe in such a way that means if you see a Sister of Battle, then you know it's probably them. In terms of mental instability, they are relatively the standard expectation of Sisters of Battle, as we're going to find out there is a spectrum of unstable when it comes to the most religious members of the Imperium of Mankind. I refer to this as the scaring the hose scale of mental instability, where at the lowest you have 1, where you have the Ultramarines. They are pragmatic, not really that religious, and they're not too overly emotional, so you could probably have a great conversation with them. And then on the 10 out of 10 side of the scale, you'd have a penitent engine, which is basically just a gibbering, babbling maniac who has chemicals pumped into their brain to literally see God at all times and then be afraid of him. So with the majority of the Sisters of Battle somewhere ranking between 6 and 7, you kind of have some issues the second you get over 5, because normal ass conversation tends to be a bit difficult, because they tend to just circle back to their hyperfixation, which is usually the Emperor. But the Order of the Martyred Lady is usually a solid 6 most of the time, as their entire shtick as a group is that they're pretty much the most disciplined out of all of them, with some exceptions, of course.
How strong is your special interest of the Emperor scale?
But they are one of the more kind groups of the sisters. Their form of combat that they prefer is actually grindy attritional warfare, as their entire combat doctrine is based around them not really caring about their own lives. They believe that to be a martyr is one of the most important...
Sounds like a heretic, Otakon.
...aspects of being a member of the Imperium. So as long as you... sacrifice yourself for the sake of a noble cause, then you are seen as a perfect member of the Order of the Martyred Lady. I think that's really cool. And I think that they are one of the most popular factions in the Sisters of Battle as possible. I think they are a fun addition, and it's also really interesting that that crowd of individuals who tend to like unstable buff women, you know, that's a trope that exists in 40k quite a lot. I'm not going to name
one if you like unstable buff women who could hurt you.
names, but if you know, you know. But they tend to be the ones that people gravitate to the most. They're just the most marketable and the ones that people tend to like. I mean, personally, I think that shit's weak sauce. It's gonna
What if I like them stable but want to hurt me specifically? Depends on what you define as stable.
take a lot more than that to honestly impress me. Bark. The Order of the Bloody Rose. Okay, so these might appeal to me on some spiritual level. If you know me, you know I have a certain weakness for violent, crazy, and situationally menacing, also red. So the Order of the Bloody Rose hits me in all the right places, and I have to say they are my favorite of all the orders of the Sisters of Battle. But they are probably the one order you do not want to actually encounter ever. To give you a rundown, let's consult the Scaring the Hose scale of mental instability, and oh fuck! Yeah, they are trained from acceptance into the order to not be silent about anything, but to channel their divine beliefs into an all-consuming whirlwind of hatred and rage. Hey, did you guys know the Order of the Bloody Rose have their own version of Saint Celestine? Yeah, it's pretty wild they do, but it's more like possession by an unholy demon than anything else. It's this really weird state of mid-battle fervor where during a bloody melee, one of their best fighters can become possessed by some supernatural rage that causes them to get so angry they radiate a heat
Business trip! For VCat Real, I'm going to Japan, yes. Big business trip, and I'm gonna make a lot of content while I'm there as well.
and also that they begin to cry tears of blood while also becoming so powerful that they can go toe-to-toe with a goddamn Chaos Champion if need be. Man, that is wild, and probably has nothing to do with Korn, albeit these sisters are incredibly good at killing the shit out of chaos-corrupted individuals, so do with this information what you will. You might be asking this question, which I tend to ask in my deepest, darkest nights, my loneliest moments to myself, but why? Well, for one, their order's founder was apparently a violent and crazy psychopath with a long-standing history of being the greatest melee combatant in the history of the Sisters.
Have I found my order? Melee combat? Melee combat? Melee combat?
The battle, which makes sense.
Blood for the Emperor.
A rumor attached to her where she allegedly fought toe-to-toe with a custodian to a standstill, which is incredibly impressive. Now, I'm not one to make judgment calls if lore is confirmed or not, or if it's just a myth that's been propagated in the Imperium, but
blood of the blood god for the Emperor.
Ambushed on a planet during a prayer session and slaughtered the majority of the people who came to kill her before she fell to her wounds. This was sort of a sanguinary cult, as it was described, a group of Khorne berserkers that were obsessed with blood. I like to imagine that what went down was similar to that of like the Punisher prison fight scene. So this legacy of martial superiority and hate has basically instilled from that day forward in her order. You could probably piece together what
Skulls
the
for the
Bloody
Golden
Rose
Throne.
sisters prefer, and that's melee combat, and they're pretty damn good at it, actually. Instead of mindful meditation, they prefer good old cathartic rage and beating the living shit out of anybody who's pissed them off. They don't prefer turning the other cheek and hoping the sinner just dies at some point. They prefer good old retribution, because bastards need punishing, don't you know? Outside of all that, they just like killing chaos and are well known for messing up quite a few Slaneshi cults from time to time, which also probably does not help the corn accusations. But hey, let's next.
Jester King, thank you for the follow. Hi. Welcome in. The Order of the Valorous Heart.
The Order of the Valorous Heart. On the relative opposite end of the spectrum, you have the Order of the Valorous Heart. Still maintaining a strong air of martial superiority, this order is founded upon the basic principles of stoicism and silence. Also, guilt and shame. They believe that life is pain and there is only different gradations of it, emotional, physical, and the severities therein. You gotta carry the weight, you know? So, how they tend to fight is once again based off of their Saint Lucius, who was the founding matriarch. How her story goes is she was allegedly an incredibly level-headed individual. This sort of anvil to St. Catherine's hammer. It's kind of this dichotomy that was summarized as being one needed the other to make sure that they had an even temperament. She was captured by a cult that wanted her to renounce the god emperor as actually being a god. They tortured her for months and told her that the pain would stop if she renounced it. Even so, she allegedly never did, though the cult itself came out and said that she died an ignoble death and actually did renounce her religion. But turns out, after years of prosecuting a holy war, the order that she left behind decided to find this entire cult and kill them in as violent a way as humanly possible, and yeah, they did, and it turns out they were lying just to kind of destroy the morale of others. But the level-headed ideas of the Valorous Heart led to them realizing that it was complete and total falsehoods in order to break the backs of the Imperium. I think it's very interesting that their entire doctrine in combat is based around pain, suffering, and being able to weather the storm. It translates into the guilt and shame aspect that I mentioned earlier, where they feel guilt and they feel shame because of their participation in the Reign of Blood, which is...
Yeah, this is... Like I said, it's kind of good that we got, like, a tiny brief overview of some of these, because now I'm able to absorb the information a bit easier. But this video's been very informative so far. I'm really enjoying it.
Goje Vandire's reign over the Imperium. All of the Sisters of Battle feel...
I will justify my kink with faith in the Emperor. Look, I don't think it's like that. I don't think it's like that. I think maybe it might turn into that, but I don't think it started like that.
Yes, to some degree, though some are a little bit more resolute than others. But the Valorous Heart believes that they can never truly be wiped clean of this stain, and they need to work in order to be better as people. So they feel pain as sort of an act of self-flagellation. So
it reminds me of for those of you who played Baldur's Gate, the cult that Shadowheart's in. With like pain being like something that's more revered instead of like a bad thing. It's supposed to be like a good thing to suffer, and it's like a blessing to suffer. The followers of Shar, yes, reminds me of that a bit. Except for instead of doing it because it's, you know, a way to earn the blessing of their god or goddess, they are doing it to atone for the past sins. Of their of the sister brides of the Emperor.
They throw themselves into the most dangerous combats they possibly can in order to enact this sort of self-flagellation. This also leads to one of the weirder side effects of this group being that they have a lot of Sisters Repentia. Sisters Repentia are Sisters of Battle who believe that they have sinned too much and they need to be absolved of it in holy combat. Removing their holy armor and being equipped with a holy weapon known as an eviscerator, the Sisters of the Repentia throw themselves just headlong into melee, and from there, if they survive, they're allowed to wear the the armor once again, and if they don't, well, they died doing something that they loved, which is murder. This guilt is pretty pervasive. It's a very Catholic guilt-inspired faction, and I think that's a very interesting angle to go about them, with the deeply dark armor and the sort of funerary march aesthetic to them. On the instability scale, they're actually pretty high, which you wouldn't think, but it's because they're a bunch of self-flagellating stoics who don't believe in basically anything other than proving that vindication is the only thing that really matters in life. There isn't much else to say about them, and I think they're pretty average. They're not my favorite, they're not the one I like the least, but they can be a little boring at times. The Order of the Sacred Rose.
There's 2 wolves inside me. This might be my second wolf.
These last 3 major orders are a bit weird, as they are some of the more significant ones, but they kind of have the least amount of lore.
The first wolf,
with an exception
Blood Rose.
For the Ebon Chalice, of course. But before we talk about the Ebon Chalice, we do have to cover the Sacred Rose. Why? Because I just ordered them that way in my script, and it's my video, so I have to follow the set pattern I set forth, or I cry? I don't know. The Order of the Sacred Rose is kind of the sister order to the Order of the Bloody Rose, as they were 2 orders.
Yeah, but this is a Warhammer scale, not real people scale, so if we're not being real, we need to make a whole new scale, because the numbers would go way too high if this was like normal people levels of scaring the host.
Rose after the initial founding of the first 4 orders. They aren't too similar, though. They're actually quite opposed to each other. The Order of the Sacred Rose is an order propped up on the key theme of kindness, faith, and altruism, as well as communication, which for an army of the Imperium is not exactly normal. The Order of the Sacred Rose is a bunch of white armor-clad individuals who, of the entirety of the orders present, have the strongest faith and dedication to the Imperial cult. They are literally the most pious in the least weird way. There's no major amounts of self-flagellation, they just seek to preach the gospel to all who will listen above all other duties. Though don't think that means they are weak as a fact.
Oh my god, I just realized. I know the best. Remember how we were talking about like emo songs and stuff for like Warhammer? I know the perfect song for Order of the Valorous Heart. The song Pain by 3 Days Grace. Pain without love, pain, can't get enough. Pain like it rough, 'cause I'd rather feel pain than nothing at all. You know?
Hell no. They actually are the most generally good of all the sisters. With no specialization, they just are good at everything to a nominal amount. There's not an emphasis on being elite or good at melee or good at range. They just can do it all with a specialization of obsessing over their own faith. The living saint and founding member of their order is Saint Arabella, and she was said to have been so faithful that she could make a heretic explode if she just looked at them and had the right state of religious fervor about her, which is, again, probably not true, but don't let the truth get in the way of a good yarn, right? The sisters of this order specialize in, weirdly enough, rallying the people to their cause. As they themselves are generalists, they have a special ability in terms of oratory skill, where they can convince people whom are not exactly the most pious of individuals to fight on their side as if they were the most obsessed zealots possible. So the thing that they tend to bring to different war zones is actually small bands of non-Sisters of Battle that fight alongside them. And these small bands, well, I use small as kind of a catch-all, but it's not really small. A lot of the times they're actually kind of massive groups of fanatical guardsmen and battle priests that follow them to most war zones. It's kind of cool to know that if you were to run these individuals on the tabletop and have them be lore accurate, you would actually run like Imperial cultists similar to that of like Chaos cultists on the board with them, and it'd be a a horde army of sisters rather than just the kind of normal army that you have here. I like the stark white armor to indicate their level of purity, and as far as kindness goes, these individuals are pretty low on the instability scale. They are actually able to carry a conversation and be rather reasonable, and they even will probably make your day better just by its inclusion. They are one of the most well-respected of the orders of the Sisters of Battle, for a reason. With the white rose being their symbol, it's nice that their stoic yet friendly temperament is indicated by their symbol, which is also in contrast to the Order of the Bloody Rose, who are especially violent to most people. The Order of the Ebon Chalice. This one is wild.
Ah! I need a small break. I gotta go get some more water. I will be back in about 5 minutes. So stay tuned for Ebon Chalice. We covered both our roses. And then after that, we have Order of the Argent Shroud. So I will be back in 5 minutes. Make sure you take a stretch. Stretch those glutes. Get off your chair if you're able to. Stand up, wiggle a bit, wiggle. You know, make sure you're not slouching at your desk, etc., or wherever you're at. And I will be right back. Boop. Let's heckin' go and get back into it. I'm in a good mood because if you check out the Discord, someone did they wrote my name in like about Sister of Battle, and it looks really cool in like the gothic font. So please check it out and go react on it positively if you're in the Discord as well. I really appreciate any sort of like fan art or fan works like that. So please do check out the Discord. It's really cool. We do have a Warhammer specific channel as well in the Discord if you guys want to post lore videos or figurines. So he's like, what's the right word for it? Not figurines, minis. If you want to post your miniatures, etc., or just talk about any of the Warhammer video games as well. We do have like separate channels for video games and other things too. Lots of fun niche hobby channels, because I like to keep things organized, and so we can all talk about our favorite things. But let's continue on. I'm just gonna rewind just a tiny bit. There we go.
The Order of the Ebon Chalice. This one is wild, because in theory, this should be the most well-known of all the orders of the Sisters. Like, the Order of the Ebon Chalice should be the poster child for the Sisters, not the Order of the Martyred Lady. For context, their founding saint is Alicia Dominica, who was the person who invented the Sisters of Battle orders as a whole. The Ebon Chalice was her specific order, and because of that, there is a long-lasting legacy of greatness that pervades their entire order. What do I mean? The Ebon Chalice has an odd specialization, and that is that they are the most elite of the Sisters of Battle. The level of training that you need to go through for them to take you in and accept you as a full-fledged Sister of Battle is actually a lot higher in terms of requirements than that of the other orders. It's why they also have the smallest number of sisters as compared to other orders, but they also have the smallest amount of losses due to the amount of highly skilled individuals they have, which is why they have the largest rank of Celestians, which are essentially the higher ranking version of your typical battle sister, that they attain this rank before they go into an actual like named position like a Palatine or a Dialogus or something like that. They just generally have access to better gear and shit.
Well, I want to learn about the
best way
ranks
to see
later.
the Order of the Ebon Chalice is they are on the opposite end of the spectrum as the Sacred Rose, where instead of having a bunch of lesser fellas in the midst, they only take the best of the best of the best. Having the best in almost every tactic, they are usually the ones who you want to see touch down with you as you get into some kind of fight of any kind. It's actually claimed that the higher ranks of the Ebon Chalice are told some of the things that the Emperor said to Alicia before she cut the head off of Goje Vandire. And speaking of, one of the relics they actually field in the game as well as in lore is the sword that Alicia actually used in order to kill Vandire, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty
Other
cool.
than everything I've said, there isn't much else I can add. So yeah, they're just the elite sisters of battle.
They're just the best.
The Order of the Argent Shroud. Okay, last one. So let's wrap this shit up so I can go lie down in the woods for a little bit. The Order of the Argent Shroud is pretty interesting, as they are an incredibly religiously reckless faction of the Sisters of Battle. Basically, their whole gimmick is they believe in the sort of Deus Vult mentality where they throw themselves face first into the biggest ranks of enemies and just kind of assume it's going to work itself out at some point. It's actually not a joke. They legit don't listen to the idea of tactics because they think that shit's for atheists.
Can we just appreciate how hot that is? Like the full armor. That's really hot to me. Like that's really hot. I love the way the skirt drapes too over her hips. Like that's hot. Sexy.
And dead men, which in their eyes are kind of the same thing. They are literally shock troops for the Sisters of Battle, with an interesting perspective on death and dying, where death is seen as kind of a good thing and greeted with silence. It is the end of a thankless burden that they see peace in. They love using jump packs and field a shitload of Seraphim and Zephyrim, and their name actually comes from the fact that their living saint was actually killed relatively early into their life, with their body being on display for all to see, but one day the body ended up disappearing from the covering that it was hidden under. Underneath the veil that was covering the individual's skeletal face was the imprint of a skull on this shroud, and thus where the name, the Order of the Argent Shroud, came from. I don't remember who, but I heard a few people refer to these individuals as Raven Guard if they were Sisters of Battle, which is just incorrect.
Ha! Ha! Remember that was one of the things we took. Ha! Ha! That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Ha!
They just like jump packs, and that's literally the only similarity. They are also one of the more unfortunate individuals that ended up having to deal with the Great Rift opening directly in their face. Yeah, most of the Sisters of the Order of the Argent Shroud are kind of stuck in permanent demon warfare, as they were relatively close to the openings where the Cicatrix Maledictum ended up opening. Now, you'd think that would mean that they suffer a prolonged and agonizing death, but you'd be surprised, because apparently that strong aura shit of them basically going, fuck it, we ball all the time, it kinda is actually
fuck it, we ball, fuck it, we ball, fuck it, we ball.
working out for their benefit, because, I mean, they're kind of unpredictable at that point, right? Man, they're still, in fact, kicking around somehow, which we can only hope to attain that level of locking in at some point and getting your shit done, right? And that was everything. Well, the 6 major orders of the Sisters of Battle, which is nice. There are a bunch of smaller orders, and if you want me to cover them, then let me know in the comments down below. I might do an even deeper dive into the Sisters of Battle at some point, but I think this will suffice for now. I got some big shit on the way, boys, and I hope you all can appreciate that. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next for one of these sub-faction breakdown videos, and I'll keep moving to the ground for it, because I do have a few that I want to cover. Also, remember to like and subscribe, as it helps the channel immensely. Special thanks to my channel members for supporting me, and if you want to support me as well as gain access to additional and early content, then feel free to become a channel member today. Thank you all for watching, and once again, before I go, I got one piece of information in this entire video intentionally wrong, and if you figure it out, I'll pin the first person who finds its comment. Good luck.
Oh no! There was one thing wrong! What did you get wrong? With the pin comment? Where's the pin comment? I'm trying to find it. He said he pinned it, but his pin comment is his own comment. So, like, what the? Did no one find it? Did no one find it? Also, subscribe. We have subscribed. Mr. Bones makes good videos. Okay. So there's this video that I was thinking, Blood Angels, Blood for the Golden God, Warhammer 40k lore. It's by Imperial Iterator. We also have
Blood Angels.
this one by Baldermort's Guide to Warhammer. But those were planned before we really deep dived into Sister of Battles, and I kind of want to see if there's more Mr. Bones Warhammer Sisters videos, maybe. So I might save these other two for later. Or we'll watch a Mr. Bones video. I think I find a new favorite lore. But what I will do is I'm just gonna add these to my watch later, so that we can come back to them. So let me quickly do that. Ba-bam. Ba-bam. And then we will check out what Mr. Bones got here. Oh, so many videos. So this was the one that we just watched 4 months ago. I don't know if he did another one on... No! No! Living Saint of Chaos might be an interesting video. He didn't make more sisters video. He said he was gonna. Did not enough people comment to make a new sisters video? I'm upsetty. Hello, Palouse. Man, this is what I feel right now. Disappointment. Disappointment. Well, let's watch this one. Let's watch this one.
Hi, I'm Arthur. You know what's cool? Living Saints. You know what's
Yeah.
also cool?
This is related. This is related. Living Saints related to Sisters of Battle. So this is mildly related. We'll watch this one here. I don't have a ton of time before I have a meeting with Mane-san again, which is just to finalize trip plans and merch for VCAT Real. So let's watch
Chaos.
this.
So why don't we mash them together and add something rotten to the mix and see what we get, right? Sounds fun? Maybe. So in general, Living Saints are kind of the culmination of several factors that we don't truly understand to this point. Usually the best way to sum them up is they are likely a latent psyker who through a bout of religious rapture becomes emboldened by their emotions and becomes kind of a living entity for, I would guess, the Astronomicon or just the idea of the Emperor. Or it could just be the Emperor being able to channel his will through another individual, which has been shown to be possible. So with that in mind, could Chaos do something similar? Yes and no. See, in order to become what is considered a saint, you usually have to be someone who's martyred, or you have to save someone with the power of the Emperor or what have you. And Chaos doesn't really lend itself
power of the
to that
Emperor
very well, as
protects!
Chaos is usually about breaking other people down so that you become stronger, rather than building other people up so that you can inspire people to worship the powers. It's grabbing power for the sake of powers. So becoming a holy man or woman, it's kind of against the grain for you to become a chaos saint, if that's even possible. So when someone becomes a living saint, they usually become a living weapon, which is usually useful in the setting of 40k, though that is kind of a dime a dozen. And if you want to be reductionist about it, you could say any major chaos champion could be considered a chaos saint of some sort. But let's kind of narrow it down. A chaos saint is someone, probably a woman, because that just makes sense for the situation, because that's kind of what we know. We know Saint Celestine and
A woman!
so on and so forth. We have the ability to channel the powers of chaos as well as show reverence to them in a religious fervor. Do they have to be a passive psyker? Maybe, sometimes. But we do not have many that fit that bill, someone who could be considered a saint. But we do have one. A woman by the name of Lethe Fulmans, a child of the Emperor, a victim of circumstance, and someone who might prove the undoing of the homeworld of the Sisters of Battle and be a greater threat to the Imperium than we think. So I'm going to break down her story, give you an idea of who she is, and basically tell you her entire tragedy-stricken life. But before we do, let's go through the basic checklist here. If you haven't subscribed, do that.
Yep.
If you haven't feel free to do so. I give you permission to yell at me if I get anything wrong.
Okay.
And like the video if you like the video. Use code BONEZONE for 10% off gamer subs.
Oh my god! We know. That's how you know they're cool. That's how you know they're cool. Gamer subs, right guys? Right guys? Gamer subs. Exclamation point GG in chat. Use code ARA at checkout for 10% off as well.
Let's boogie. Born on the world of Ophelia 7, Lethe's life was pretty shit from the outset, as even though she was a literal child, she was born well into the opening of the Great Rift, as that entire period of the Indomitus Crusade to reclaim worlds from demons took well over hundreds of years to finally conclude, meaning the planet, even though it was Ophelia 7 and filled with the holiest of holies, was in the midst of a massive chaos incursion. A Lord of Change, going by the name of the Tyrant of Blue Flame, had weaseled in numerous cults and demons that were slowly eroding away reality on there, because, you know, it's Tzeentch. The planet was ravaged by the tyrant's ambition of corrupting everything that the Imperium had held sacred, because, you know, it's the home planet of the Sisters of Battle. Unfortunately, Lethe's father was branded a heretic and a traitor, as her entire city was burned to ash by the Sisters of Battle, as there was evidence of a chaos cult there. Lethe was maybe early pre-teens, maybe 10 at the time, and because of that, she was kind of taken away as a semi-innocent, as it is discussed. Her father was killed in front of her and burned for being a traitor, and we never truly find out if he was a traitor, only that he was in the city that there were. It is suspected that he might have been an actual true heretic, but we never know. But what we do know is Lethe was innocent in all this. She was never really a heretic. She was
A child.
just some young girl who had never really had a chance to see the light of day, and it was during a time of strife that she was just born in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was captured by the Sisters of Battle, and for the next unknown amount of years, usually for quite some time, she was an adult by the time that we meet up with her. She was forced to work in the mines, day after day, with a penitence
The children crave the mines.
mask and with the lash at her back from horrible wardens who would take a cruel delight in punishing anybody for any minor infraction. She was forced to break rocks and tunnel with many others who were branded as heretical enough to not allow freedom, but not heretical enough to kill on sight. These slaves were punished for speaking, even in leisure time, broken jaws, shattered bones, and death in as painful a way as possible, with the bodies not even being removed, simply allowing the rats to eat them until there were nothing but bones. But Lethe was racked with a heightened awareness. She knew to survive another day was the only goal that she needed to worry about, and she worked. She worked day in, day out, and through that, making sure that she ate the food that they gave her, however minuscule it was. She was wire thin, but corded with this sinuous muscle that made her quick, not physically strong, but quick. There was a single thought throughout all of this that was echoing through her mind, day in and day out, something that was pervasive enough that it eventually became the only thing that she thought about even after she secured her freedom, and that was simply why. Why was she here? She didn't do
Why are we here? Just to suffer.
anything. She wasn't told why she was down here, only that it was her penance to do so. She didn't know what she was repenting for, and because of that, she grew increasingly more resentful towards the Imperium and especially the Sisters of Battle, as well as confused as to why the Emperor would allow something like this. Slowly growing more and more hateful with each day that passes by and with each crack of the whip on her back. And her being hateful and resentful wasn't even for anything petty, like her just being caught for her crimes, but for reasons of they burned her city down, they killed her father, and then forced her to work to atone for a crime that she either didn't commit or didn't know she committed. This all changed one day when he arrived.
He.
The death of saints. A Night Lord's warlord so powerful that he is more of a living myth than just a plain old space marine. He was coming to retrieve the skull of his long-dead sister, Saint Athanasia, and luck would have it that his destabilization of Ophelia 7 led to the numerous prison guards and wardens of the work camps being a bit, taken away. Their numbers were spread thin as they were being brought onto the war effort as conscripts. Lethe, seeing her opportunity, rather than being worked into an early grave and using the muscles and agility that she had worked up through fear and work, smashed one of the guards in the head with a rock, took his shock maul and ran. But this is when she learned the extent of what was happening to the planet as she got to the elevator leading out of the mine and found the surface. This is when she saw that the sky was raining fire and there was just endless war as far as the eye could see. She had a taste of freedom for just a brief moment, but it appears the guards weren't done with her yet. As one, the meanest one, the worst one, the one that in prior days had killed Lethe's only friend, who was an old woman of like 60, was there. This man was trying to drag her
I have a feeling this is a book.
back into the
we should
dark.
read this
Stumbling
book.
over himself, he fell to the ground and only managed to grab a hold of her ankle. As Lethe could have left, at this moment, she could
I think it's Lethe, but I keep on hearing Leafy, and then I keep on thinking of Leafy is here, and I'm reminded that he has no chin.
have simply clubbed him in the head and just started running. This is when you see the change in her, because she took the chance and shoved the shock maul directly into his mouth and turned it on until his entire head was fried. Taking his keys to unlock her shackles and breathing in air for the first time in a long time from lips that were not covered by a metal mask, this was her first real taste of both freedom and the boundless joy of unrestrained cruelty. Little did she know that she was being watched by someone who would change her life forever. The Death of Saints saw her. Saw this wiry thing, slave woman who, through pluck and determination, had escaped her fate, and he approached her. She did not shrink in his presence. She was afraid, yes, but she was not prepared to go back into servitude and become a slave or be tortured seconds after finally being free. So she was ready to die then and there, fighting for what she wanted. He simply looked at her and said, "You have hatred in your eyes." That was before he gave her an Astraman skinning knife, monomolecular edged, and took her in as his head cultist, someone to lead his human armies. If it stopped there, this would be probably one of the better villain origin stories I've ever read in the 40k setting. As Lethe, her struggles, her fears, her triumphs are all understandable. She was someone who was fucked by society and forced into this position.
The jump scared me. It barely even censored him, but that jump scared me so bad. It was really loud.
But the thing is, she continues from here and arrives at a place both horrid and beautiful and interesting. By the by, if you haven't watched my Death of Saints video, you should probably give that a go because it gives you a bit more context as to what I'm talking about. See, the Death of Saints, aka Kal Rakul, favors Lethe obviously because she reminds him of his old sister whom he had killed in a fit of rage centuries ago. But it's more than that. See, Lethe is also everything he needs to succeed right now, as she just for some reason kept falling into the proper place at the right time. She plays the part of a herald, she plays the part of a spy to keep track of the Night Lord's brothers who were planning on betraying him, as well as murdering a Saint Potentia, but we shall get there. Lethe was in a lot of the fighting, as her master, the Death of Saints, had reclaimed the skull of Athanasia, his sister, at some point throughout the book. But in a brief moment of oversight during the combat, the skull ended up being taken from him, leading to him almost going into a
Oh shit.
depressed berserking state. Lethe was separated from the main group of cultists, and most likely because of divine providence, ended up in the underground catacombs of a very massive church in the area, which is where she encountered Saint Elena, or rather, the saint-to-be. See, this woman was a Saint Potentia, an individual whom, while fighting the death of saints' army, emitted a golden light that scared away both traitors and demons alike. And once she recaptured Saint Athanasius' skull, she was tasked with getting it back to the main base of operations for the sisters through the catacombs, as it was a direct route, and one person would be harder to track than others. And also, she has the blessing of
I got a bad feeling about this.
the Emperor on her side. But unfortunately, she did not find safety in the catacombs. She found Lethe. We only found out later truly how horrible things were for Saint Elena, as when Lethe returns with the skull, Kal Rakul is elated and rewards her by making her his Herald of Slaughter. See, this is kind of a corn cult, kind of a less violent World Eaters cult, which is kind of nice, I guess, but I mean, an entire warband of Uzas from the Night Lords trilogy doesn't really sound appealing to me. So, before we get too lost in the weeds here, what exactly is a Herald of Slaughter? Well, under the guise of simple prayer robes and carrying the reliquary that contained St. Athanasius' skull, Lethe went back to the main base of operations, pretending to be St. Elena. She arrived, and she
she's pretending.
was carrying a message. Everyone kind of immediately realized it wasn't St. Elena, it was some wiry pale girl, but she had the case that was supposed to have St. Athanasius' skull. Everybody was worried about Elena because she was beloved. She was a very pleasant soul to be around. So seeing news that there was a skull and that there was hope, everybody tended to perk up, from the sisters, the militar. Hell, the Black Templars that were stationed there were delighted as well, as the Emperor was truly among his people. But that is when Lethe pulled back her hood to reveal the mark that was carved into her cheek. See, Kal Rakul has a messed up eye, so whenever he wants to brand a cultist with his favor, he carves a symbol directly under the eye that he has damaged. So they immediately recognize that as an Astraman rune and the mark of Kal Rakul, which is when Lethe opened up the reliquary to reveal the rotting head of Saint Elena filled
Oh boy!
with maggots and desecrated marks. She then told them the message that Kal Rakul wanted them to know, the reason why she was his herald, and that was simply, there is nothing you can do. Kal Rakul, the death of saints, is coming for you, and you are going to do nothing about it. That's appropriately Night Lordy. That's pretty Night Lordy. Yeah, I think that's pretty spooky. I'd be shook. I'd be pretty shook. Lethe was
My daddy is a Night Lord, and I learned what he taught well.
and for her troubles, apprehended and then sent to prison by the sisters, and they were really, really mad about this, as you'd probably assume. The Abbess Sanctorum, Morven Val, who was on the planet at the time, really liked Elena, so as punishment, Morven Val ordered that she not be executed. Lethe was to be sent to prison, and then the second that it was possible, get her lobotomized and either put into an arcoflagellant or a penitent engine, and then thrown directly at the Death of Saints main base, which, you know what? I get that.
Fair enough.
That's kind of appropriately grimdark. But this leaves us with Lethe in a cage once again, screaming and smashing at the bonds that were holding her against the wall. Lethe was once again chained up and back in the darkness as a slave once more, begging to anyone who would listen, as she just didn't want to suffer anymore. She didn't care who would help her. She had trusted the word of the Emperor and Chaos alike. Although Chaos had treated her better, she had ended up the same, about to be lobotomized and turned into a walking monster of war. Hell, she was...
Yeah, because technically he kind of sent her to her death to be a herald. Like, what do you think's gonna happen to her if she goes and be like, hey, look, I've got your saint's head here in a box, and Night Lord Daddy says you guys gonna die soon. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's totally gonna come back from that one fine.
On the surgery table with a few other people getting ready to have parts of her brain removed when a sudden warp strike from warp talons breaking in from the fifth dimension saved her. Though saving her is kind of a misnomer, because if you don't know, warp talons are barely thinking animals that are kind of lost to their own obsession with slaughter and ripping things to pieces. She managed to free herself as the sedatives that they used on her wore off too early, and she managed to get out. There was a moment's hesitation when the warp talons saw the mark mark on her eye, but they did not give a single shit. They were gonna rip her to pieces and eat her. So she fled the surgery room, going down hallway after hallway, corridor after corridor, until she found stairs leading into the main crypt of this sanctorum. This crypt was endlessly black, and Lethe did not really have much in terms of light. The torch that she had scavenged along the way was dying, so she kind of snuffed the light out, hid in an alcove, and kind of just waited for death as she heard one way the warp talons were showing up that were going to obviously rip her to pieces, and then the other way she heard the clamoring of power armored boots, which if they were Sisters of Battle, she was going to die even worse. So she was just kind of getting ready for whatever happened when a voice spoke to her. It was known to be a very calming voice, the voice of a saint. See, a voice like this had appeared earlier in the book as the voice of Saint Athanasia, as anybody who held the skull of Athanasia could hear her voice from time to time. This voice told her that it was not her time and she needs to move. The wall next to her becoming soft and malleable like clay, she slipped through it, and almost magically the wall sealed up behind her. Whatever had just spoken to her just saved her life. Lethe now finds herself in the midst of various civilians, as somehow she is now in a small sanctuary for those who could not fight, which gives her time to rest as she prepares what to do next. And my dear viewer, what does she do next? Does she find the light of the Emperor and realize that she was saved by a living saint and realize the Emperor does indeed protect? Fuck no. She doubles down. Because on the eve of the final battle, Kal Rakul, the Death of Saints versus Morven Val, the Abbess Sanctorum of the Sisters of Battle, that is when Lethe appears next. Not to help Morven win or to help Rakul win, as she appears moments after the battle is more or less done, seeing that there had been a massive detonation of small missiles that had left her master, the Death of Saints, in a heap of broken bones and shattered armor. She saw him still clinging to life. He could sense her, probably through scent, and asked her to help him one last time. But in a moment of pity and disgust, she stabs him through the throat with the very knife he gave her before scampering off. What goes around comes around, eh? Months go by after this. Lethe disappears, but we eventually find her again under a fake identity as she found a way to slip into the menials that were working under the Administratum for cleanup on Ophelia 7. She was basically tasked with a bunch of other low-end workers with burning the bodies of the people that come in from the pyres, and you kind of wonder what her whole deal is right now.
Yeah,
but
what is her deal?
You kind of figure that out pretty quickly, as one of the other workers that she was working with ends up getting basically bullied and beaten by a guard that was there for not working fast
that's not gonna make her happy.
enough. Lethe, with very little hesitation, picks up a rock and, almost in a mirror of what she did to escape the prison back on Ophelia 7, she smashed the guard over the head, but this time not stopping,
Lethe smash.
beating him over and over again until his brain was a pulp on the floor. She then looks at the other worker whom the guard was bullying and says, "Help me pick this up and throw it into the fire," with a bit of charisma and a bit of compassion, which the worker immediately goes, okay, as they
Okay.
pick the body up and throw it in. She tears off the uniform of the man, not to wear, but to do something that I find is very interesting, as she pulls out the old carving knife that she kept from Kal Rakul and carves the 8-pointed Star of Chaos into the body of the guard as it's going to be thrown into the fires. She then offers up a silent prayer to the pantheon of the 4 deities, and that is
All of them, 4 deities at once. No, usually people choose one because
where we end with Lethe's story. Lethe is such a fun character. I really hope they bring her back for something, as in the end
There's no more?
there was this kind of dark light flickering
Huh.
behind her, revealing that there was some kind of power to her that we might not have ever seen before. I know saying she's a dark saint is kind of a stretch, more like a
She could become one, maybe.
super cult leader, but she has heard direct communication from either a chaos entity, the Emperor, the ghost of a saint, I don't know, but she has killed both a chaos lord and a saint while still being a normal mortal and is still kind of thriving right now. She has the devil's luck and a knack for rallying people under her banner, which is absolutely fucking dangerous. But unfortunately,
I don't like that sound.
Again, where her story ends, as we know nothing about her after that. Will she bring another horror to Ophelia 7 at some point? I kind of hope so. But she may also just be a throwaway, and the horror is still there. Ooh.
Yeah, it could just be an individual story, but I'd like to hear more about Lethe.
Type of plotline. Regardless, I hope you like this more narrative-focused video. I kind of did the same thing for the Death of Saints video, and I kind of wanted to do the same for the secondary video. I don't usually do these, but I really liked her as a character, and her slow descent into being something horrible and beautiful is very fun. Let me know what you think in the comments. Also, like and subscribe as it helps the channel. Special thanks to my channel members for supporting me, as with your support, I'm able to pay my editor to get this video done while I'm on vacation and actually taking a break for once, and still actually have time to breathe when I get back, as I'll likely be back by the time this video gets published. I know I say it a lot, but you all have genuinely changed my life, so thank you. And if you want to support me as well as gain
glad to see that he's thriving, he deserves it.
access to additional early content, then become a channel member today. Thanks once again for watching, and before I go, yes, I got one more video to make about the Morven Vol book, and then I'm done. I promise. It's still a great book, but I'm kind of milking this kind of dry a little bit.
Oh, so this is the book it's from, Morven Vol, Spear of Faith. Cool. That was a good video. Clap, 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 clap. Clap, 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 clap. Good video. Alright, we're gonna switch on over here. Boop. Alright. Well, I thought we got through like 3 lore videos, and one of them being the second half of a Louiton video. Actually, no, technically 3.5, because we went through that one guy's video, and then I'm just like, I'm not happy with the way he's explaining this. So, but we did try out 2 new lore video makers, which was a lot of fun. I do enjoy Mr. Bones' content. The other one was like a hit or miss on some things, but it's always good to, explore other content creators and see what kind of content we like. Just as I appreciate you guys here stopping by and exploring my content and going through the lore with me. I can't words very well today, man. I've had a lot on my mind the last few days. I've been really stressed over packing and content prep and everything, and I'm very nervous for my trip. And I think regardless of how much preparation I've done, I would still be nervous regardless. I'm glad I could get in a stream with you guys beforehand here. Tomorrow I'm going to be working on doing a lot of packing and prep for the trip. And at some point next week, you will see me posting and doing things from Japan instead. So thank you, everyone. Please look forward to the VCAT streams coming up, because I will still be streaming for our VCAT VR chat tours while I'm in Japan, as well as the Analive streams too. I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is there for you guys. And I will see you guys, I guess soon, at some point, for sure. I'll be posting the schedules for my upcoming VCAT streams within the next couple days, so you guys will have a schedule for sure. Thanks for being here, coming to the stream. I appreciate you all. If you guys could get your raid messages ready, I would super appreciate that, so that we can pass you guys on to another lovely content creator, so we can support and show you guys a variety of content too. Just as I like to explore different content creators, I hope you do the same. Remember, I appreciate if you stay for 5 to 10 minutes to whoever we raid. Just give them their content a chance. If you like them, give them a follow. Stay for a bit longer if you want, but if you have to head out, at least give them the 5 to 10 minutes to see if you like it, okay? Yeah, I know I'll be streaming while I'm in Japan still, but I'm gonna miss you guys, okay? I miss you guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye bye. Stick around for the raid.